for Skylar, yeah, just how are you? How is your lip? And just how did that game go?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm a big girl. I've been in this league a long time. I done took shots, got stitches at halftime, didn't need stitches tonight. Um, but yeah, that's how it goes. Our league is physical. I think we've seen that. I think those that didn't understand that now, I guess. But it's a very physical league, and so just comes with it. I welcome the physicality. And yeah, I'm okay. I thought it went well tonight. Obviously, we were led by Ezi tonight. I thought she started us out really well and just a steady Betty the rest of the game. Defensively set the tone right away with a block shot and led us in plus minus today. So everything was well when she was on the floor for us. But yeah, I thought it was a good game in the first half. We can do better with finishing quarters. And then the third quarter we started out in a struggle. We didn't score, but we held them as well. And so defensively, I feel like we're still growing. We're still building off our defensive games that we've had these past 4 or 5 games. And obviously with no NECA, you saw people stepping up and stepping into different roles for us. And I thought it was a great game for us to start out Commissioner's Cup, holding them under 20 for 3 quarters. Um, you know, what else? Let me look here. Yeah, those are my initial thoughts when I'm thinking about the game.
Hey, and just how important are these cup games? Like, just what is the proper sort of balance that players put on these? Are they more important, less important, or?
I mean, I think it's subjective, maybe. For me, I thought, us setting the tone, especially, we hadn't played a game since last Thursday. Coming out, you got a new ball. It's all type of nuances, with Commissioner Cup. So I thought it was good for us just to get that game in for the series with Phoenix, and then setting the tone for this week. We play a lot of veteran teams, a lot of teams that play small ball. Phoenix did some different type of matchups and zones and presses, and so we got to look at a lot of things today. And so just trying to use that momentum, go back and obviously we'll look at film. This is just my first initial thoughts. Go back and look at it and see how we can build and get our get ready schematically versus Vegas.
Skylar, you've played with a lot of great players in your career, and you've touched on Ezi here with your initial thoughts, but just how big has she been for this team consistently, and then obviously big for the announcement of her extension today? Just how big has she been as you've seen through your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, she said it's not a big deal, guys, but we're like, yes, that's a huge deal. We're happy to have her. I tell her all the time, I love playing with Ezi. She just makes everything so easy. She blocks a lot of my assignment shots, so I'm like, thank you for having my back. But she's everywhere, just the ultimate helper defensively. To start out this year, I think is the top candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. Just her ability to guard on the perimeter, to switch. She was guarding everybody tonight. And so to play in the perimeter, her versatility on offense as well, knocking down a 3, had to respect it, and she got to the basket. Just her ability to finish in a myriad of ways, and then defensively being the anchor for us. I tell her all the time, I said it up here last time we were together. Just love being on the floor with her. And I think she's just scratching the surface of the player that we'll see in Final Four.
Ezi, the first quarter, 6 of 6 from the field. The only other Storm player who's ever done that is LJ. When the ball moves like it did early in this game, what kind of opportunities did that create for you and for everyone, really?
Yeah, I think when the ball moves, that's how we kind of get our shots offensively, and it just opens up the floor, opens up shots for everyone that's on the floor, really. So I think, that's something that we try to do. Just move the floor, get to first side, second side, third side, and doesn't matter who's scoring, but I think when we flow, we look really good.
Sky, now that you've played with Ezi for a few weeks, having not had that chance before, how does she complement the rest of sort of the 5 that you guys have out there primarily?
Like a hand in the glove, I think we just fit. I think her and NECA complement each other really well. Obviously she stepped it up tonight because NECA was out, and Ezi was the one to kind of get busy and exploit. They have young bigs, so we knew that's where the mismatch was, and she did a good job exploiting the mismatches. Kind of forgot your question, sorry. Yeah, I think we try to, compliment her, and really just off the move, screen and roll things, getting her on the move with the ball, her ability to handle the basketball and attack from the top of, the floor, the elbows. Yeah, just getting in screen and roll games and trying to get her out in space. She moves well without the basketball in the dunker spot, runs the floor really well. So it's easy playing with players like that. Being able to duck in and finish over the top, just like I said, just it speaks to her versatility. But it's easy playing with good players.
You guys as a team hold them to under 34% shooting and 17% from the 3-point line. Talk about your kind of the defensive game plan going in and how you guys were able to execute it.
Just being aggressive defensively. I think a lot of the time we want our defense to lead into our offense. So I think it makes it easy to focus on one thing. And that was defense. And Phoenix are a great team. They've been shooting well to start the season. So we knew they were going to get a lot of threes up, run the floor. So just stopping, what we knew that they were good at.
And Skylar, what does it say about your team when you're missing NECA, but you're still beating Phoenix by nearly 20 points?
Yeah, I thought we did a good job of executing defensively. It wasn't always like sexy offensively for us at times. I thought we kind of got the looks that we wanted. Maybe some of them didn't drop tonight. But I like the nature of the shots we were getting defensively, like Ezi said, just setting the tone there. And yeah, I thought we took care of business tonight. It's really important too when you talk about Commissioner Cup and you talk about point spread and things like that, which is why they were still trying to score the ball that last possession because it's point spread in Commissioner Cup. And so it's nice to start out with almost a 20-point win. And just hopefully we can just continue to build off of that.
I'm gonna ask the same question, but flip it. I'll start with Ezi. Ezi, when you're the anchor over there, can you just talk about once you get the rebound and having people like Skylar as outlet and what that does to initiate the offense?
Honestly, it just makes the offense so much easier. I love playing with Sky and just to be able to be there with her on the floor. She sees the floor so well. She makes good plays. She's aggressive offensively, and I think we need that from her, and she does that every game. And so just to have her there, creates a steady pace for our team, but also creates the pace that we want to play offensively, which is, it is fast at times, but it is steady at times too. And she does both of those things for us. Yeah. No,
Sorry.
it's okay.
And then Skylar, obviously, she's the anchor and everything else. She's talking about her instincts. But what is it like to have that anchor get the ball and obviously the rest of the team getting down in the lane? What does that do for you as a distributor?
Yeah, in the past, I more sat on the laps of the big when they got it. With her and NECA, I'd get out of their way because they're capable of bringing the ball up the floor, definitely off of a rebound, just trying to make sure I get out in space. But like Ezi attests to, pace and just forcing, not forcing, but attacking and just making sure if we're together every time, if it's a drag or a step up or some type of action to reward ourselves for great defense.
On the subject of rebounding, as you can take this up, only 3 offensive rebounds for Phoenix tonight, no second chance points. Was that a point of emphasis at all as you guys prepared for this one?
Yeah, I think rebounding has been a point of emphasis for the whole season. Obviously they were a bit undersized with their bigs, so I think that was something we knew we could exploit, just rebounding the ball well, and I think we did that well tonight. I think our guards do a great job of rebounding as well. Tori's really great at crashing the boards. So yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Tori tonight too.
Yeah.
And even the past few games, things that don't show up on the stat sheet. Just her toughness, her edge that she brings to the table, especially in the first unit. Her ability to knock the 3 down, space it out for us. But, she's been taking some tough defensive assignments these last few games and, have really stepped it up for us. So yeah, shout out to Tori.
We have time for one question on Zoom. Christian, go ahead with your question and then we'll wrap up.
My question is for Skylar. Coming to this game, I'm just wondering, is this just another game for you on the schedule, knowing this Commissioner Cup's game, or just knowing that the history of coming to Seattle, coming out of Phoenix, was there anything that you felt coming to this game that was different than the others, or was it just another game to you?
No, not really. I like to say I compete against everybody the same way. I think that's the biggest compliment you can give people in this league is to go as hard as you can, every night at everybody. And so I don't discriminate there. Obviously, yeah, that was the old team for 4 years. But just really focused. The grass is definitely greener for me. And so just really focused on being here where I'm planted and trying to make sure, I'm focused for this role on this team and all my energy is where my feet are planted.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. We'll have Coach in here in just a minute.
Hey, the coach. In the first quarter, I think Ezi had DT on her, and she passed it out, and then you kind of said something to her. Was that maybe a motion to be aggressive or something? And then just your thoughts on her first quarter.
I don't quite remember that exact play, but probably to be aggressive toward the rim or when they had their small ball lineup to make sure she's posting. I can't remember that particular play, but I'm sure if it was early on, it was just a reminder about that.
Think just your thoughts on her first quarter, outscored Phoenix in that first quarter.
I thought she was very aggressive. I thought her pace was really good. A lot of, Ezi's defensive anchor and agility and aggressiveness jump starts what we do on offense when we're playing in transition and we're playing in space. She's really good. She catches a lot of balls. She has really good hands. She has some tough finishes. But again, there's an energy level to her that we really fed off of.
Coach, I know you weren't happy, I'm sure, with the offense late, but just with your defense kind of continuing to play well and kind of hold it at that lead. Is that something that's like, okay, we're not happy with one end of the court, but the other end, it's like, it makes up for it?
Yeah, definitely. Because we're going to hang our hat on defense, and that's where, that's where we're always going to start. When we can't score, we at least have to prevent other teams from scoring. I don't like a 5-minute drought of not scoring. And plus this week or so, 2 weeks, whatever it is Commissioner Cup. And so the emphasis is that every possession matters. And I don't want to put pressure on them to have to score, but there has to be more intention behind what we do offensively, especially if we understand the rules around Commissioner Cup and what we want to accomplish. But again, I'm super proud of where our defense continues to sustain us through our droughts.
Going back to pregame, you mentioned it's too early to kind of evaluate with the new pieces, but what does it mean to be stringing together wins while you're doing that process of growing?
Yeah, it's a good sign for us because I think that is also a morale booster and a confidence booster to know that we're still kind of working through kinks of, understanding each other, finding chemistry, making sure our systems are tight. But, if in fact we're not quite where we are, it's good to know it's confidently that we can be successful and find some rhythm and string along these wins. And also, a couple of those wins are on the road, and every game in this league is very tough. So we're finding ways to pull it out. And I told the team every game, every team in this league is tough, and sometimes it may not feel good how we win, but to find ways to be successful is a sign of a really good team.
Coach, with the change in the Commissioner Cup rules, like how does that change your approach to these games now that it's 5 instead of 10?
The urgency changes. So we've talked about it. A transition take foul free throw, a defensive 3 seconds free throw, a technical foul free throw. Like all of these points matter because it's only 5 games. It's important that we really lock into the details of every possession offensively and defensively. So just our urgency level shifts.
Does that change like with the lineups too, as far as rotations a little bit?
As far as what part?
Maybe as far as like playing your starters more minutes or anything along
absolutely.
those? Yeah.
I mean, you guys saw like it's about trying to get these points. If it's comes to a tiebreaker or whatever, best record, all that, points matter. Points matter.
Hey, Coach, going back to the synergy, I asked SKYLAR and also Ezi just how when Ezi gets the rebound and then Skylar, the synergy that's there, how it enables the offense in your transition game. How important is they continue to get to know each other?
Yeah, I think early on, Sky was kind of coming back to the ball because she's been used to playing with bigs who kind of give that ball up. And I think she's adjusted great to letting Ezi kind of rock in transition and just being available with needed. And even if she doesn't have the ball, sometimes that ball is going to Jewel and her getting to the other side of the floor. I think she's adjusting well to that. And also Ezi, what she's doing in those moments, I think she's very confident with her ball handling, and also her decision making has been very sharp.
So when Ezi came in, she was, and now she is. Can you put it in words in there?
When Ezi came in, she was a mature, quiet, silent. Quiet, silent is the same. Athletic being. Now she is a even more mature, confident beast.
Can you talk a little bit about Victoria's defense on Diana tonight? You know, she went 0 for 6 from 3, held to only 7 points. You know, talk a little bit about her, impact that maybe, people don't see on the stat sheet.
Thank you for asking that question. Did she know that Victoria got the defensive belt today? And I said, it's not what shows up on a stat sheet. You look at a stat sheet and you say, why? But to your point, she's in Diana's space. She's aggressive. She's blowing things up. And she's being very sharp with her scout defense. And so because of that, she got the belt today. Because I think it's just important for her to highlight and to continue to empower and encourage her to continue on this path of great defense to start this game. And she's had some tough assignments, and I think she's taken the challenge excellently.
Just to go on with the defensive scout, you held on to under 34% and under or 17% from 3. What kind of was the defensive game plan there, and how did you execute it?
We had a few keys, and one of those keys were to defend the 3-point line. A lot of those come from Tarasi, from Copper, from Sophie. And so we were just making sure we're up to touch, taking away, some of those are jump switches to take away clean looks. And a lot of times we talk about just landing the plane. Sometimes the scout defense is to do a certain thing, but to do the most aggressive thing matters to take away their strength. We also talked about their transition offense because we're going to be cross-matched so much. So transition defense was huge. And I think, you saw Ezi having to guard Cloud sometime. You saw our post players taking guards and vice versa. So being attentive to our transition defense, but also when we got in the half court, making sure we're flushing the 3-point shooters off the line.
What was the explanation you got on your challenge on the Sky charge Skylar tried to take?
On Sky's to the mouth, that she fouled her, but that it got upgraded because of the follow through. She, as in Skylar, fouled her.
We'll go to Zoom to take a couple. Christian, go ahead, and then Blake, you'll wrap up.
Hey, Coach, like during the several runs during the game where it felt like Phoenix was making a run back to the game after the team had like 20-plus point leads. It was a 11-3 run and then a 7-0 run. Playing off of the Victoria Vivian's question from earlier, a lot of those stretches of the game that she plays such an important role, guarding usually the best wing player on the other side of the floor. A lot of these things aren't really noticed. And then today, 10.7 rebounds, things that do show up, a near double-double. People may think these things just come up out of nowhere, but they're not really seeing what's going on in practice, and especially during these huddles during the game. Like as far as a coach standpoint, with her and Skylar and players like these on the court, how often does that give you kind of like less of a leash of like to call timeouts or to kind of like rally the troops during times like that?
Yeah, well, I have a question for you. Is your name Kristen or Christian?
It's Christian like the religion, but there's no I at the end.
Okay. That always confuses me. Cool. All right. So just because people call me Nicole sometimes, and I just want to make sure that we're calling you the correct name. So as it relates to the timeouts and the flow, we have a veteran group, though they're new with each other. There are times, and honestly, my timeout situation, I was in a little bit of a crunch because of that challenge that I took, which I felt like I shouldn't have taken or didn't have to take because the referee should have taken a look at Skylar's hit to the face because she was bleeding. I digress. I let them rock out a little bit because I know that some of those were just kind of our mental mistakes and our mental focus. Just reminding them to lock back in to our details. Tori has been with Vic Schaefer, so defense is always her number one thing, and she's very smart. Like we talk in shoot around, she's like a coach on the floor and understanding concepts. And so because of that, I have a lot of trust in those guys. And when Skylar's on the floor being an extension of me, I know that we can get the ships back to where it needs to be because they understand that it needs to happen in that moment.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And last question, Blake.
Hey, Coach Quinn. This is Blake Spadaro from Blake's Take and WNBA Swish. The team scored 46 points in the first half compared to 34 in the second half. What did you think about the team's offensive execution in both halves specifically?
In the first half, I thought the ball was moving a lot more. I thought that in the start of the fourth quarter, we got a little bit stuck and stagnant. They went super small ball. That was a lineup that we hadn't seen in quite some time. So that kind of, I think, stalled us out a little bit. The good thing about it is that we were getting stops. The bad thing is the crowd stood for 5 minutes. Sorry about that. But we have an ability to sustain with our defense. So I'm gonna take a positive spin on this and say that, our defense is top notch right now in those moments.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Coach.